Good morning and good afternoon, folks. My name is Vikram Belapurkar. I'm a solutions marketing manager at Dell focused on storage consolidation and virtualization. Today, I'm going to discuss how Dell storage solutions can help you simplify and optimize your VMware journey. So we know virtualization has become a key data center strategy. In fact, about 90% of organizations have virtualization program in place. Server virtualization penetration will double from 2011 by 2016. Also, today about 60% of our workloads deployed are on virtual servers. On the desktop side, we expect about half the professional desktops to be virtualized by 2014. So virtualization is pervasive and it's not going away. And here are a couple of quotes from Gartner and IDC validating that the value of virtualization and cloud computing. So journey towards cloud computing is actually an evolution and not so much of a revolution. On the left side, you have a complete non-virtualized physical data center. Typically, organizations introduce virtualization into their data center to rein in IT cost by consolidating test, development, and non-mission critical applications on virtualized servers. Further, having realized the cost benefits, organizations start to take virtualization deeper into their data center by virtualizing mission-critical applications as well as desktops. The drivers here are not so much cost. They really look to improve performance, scalability, and availability through virtualization here. After virtualizing nearly all of the workloads, organizations look to build flexible, scalable, private, and hybrid cloud infrastructure with the goal of improving agility of their infrastructure. Storage is really at the heart of this virtual data center because these virtual machines actually live on the storage tier. And storage plays a key role in ensuring that objectives for each of the phases are met. Organizations that decide not to virtualize can still benefit from consolidating storage objects into a shared storage pool. In consolidation phase, you need a storage that simplifies the operation and centralizes the infrastructure. As you move towards virtualizing mission-critical applications, you really need a storage that is highly available and supports the stringent data protection and disaster management requirements of the virtualized data center. And finally, as you start building cloud infrastructure, a proper storage helps you track, coordinate, and monitor the entire infrastructure in a seamless fashion. So Dell has worked extensively with VMware over the years to optimize its storage platforms to complement VMware virtual deployments in each of the phases that we just saw. Here is a quote from VMware that highlights our joint collaboration and various initiatives we have in place that benefit our customers. So when most organizations start to consolidate their infrastructure, the goal really is cost containment and improving efficiency by virtualizing non-critical applications. So here is a completely non-virtualized environment. By consolidating it on a fewer pieces of hardware, you can lower hardware cost, management time, as well as ongoing power and cooling expenses. From storage standpoint, Dell offers solutions that further support the goal. The virtualized storage architecture does to storage what VMware has done to servers and simplifies storage management. Dell also offers storage management plugins for VMware. All three platforms, Dell Compellent, EqualLogic, and PowerVault, offer these plugins that help you manage the underlying storage through the VMware management interface, simplifying storage management and improving productivity. These plugins also automate numerous tasks involved in creating VMFS data stores, managing them, monitoring them, as well as expanding them. Dell storage solutions also offer features that help you lower storage footprint. Compellent, for example, always thinly provisions storage. Capacity is not consumed until data is written to the disk. Also, Compellent features thin writes, avoiding storage of bit streams consisting of zeros. EqualLogic and Compellent both offer thin clones for further capacity optimization. Compellent offers perpetual licensing, meaning that once you bought storage software licenses from Dell, you will never have to repurchase those licenses. Even if your SAN grows and you add more capacity, or you completely upgrade your controllers from one generation to the next generation. Typically, competing products require you to repurchase all your licenses as you upgrade your SAN, not with Dell. And this is essentially to make sure we protect the investments that our customers have made in our software. With EqualLogic, all storage software that EqualLogic offers is included with the base price of the array. So you don't have to pick and choose what software features you need and what software features you may need in the future. So here is a customer, Natural History Museum of Vienna. Uh, they had a very limited data center footprint because of the physical location, and they could not grow out of the space that they had. So they consolidated using Dell servers as well as Dell Equalogic's storage, and they realized tremendous efficiencies. They lowered storage cost by approximately 60% compared to what they were using in the past. They reduced server and storage management time by around 50%, and this goes back to the kind of integration Dell has. Dell is in a unique position here, offers server network as well as storage solutions, really collaborates closely with VMware. So Dell is in a unique position to help you automate all of your management tasks and thus bring down the cost involved in managing your infrastructure. So in the next phase, as you consolidated your non-mission critical applications, you're really looking to take virtualization deeper into your data center, and that's when you start virtualizing mission critical applications. And the driver here is not so much not so much of the cost, but it's actually, can I benefit from virtualization by improving my availability, by improving the scalability, by improving the performance of my application? So what's key here is availability, performance, and scalabilities. What you see here is you virtualize your non-mission critical applications, but you still have the mission critical workloads like your databases, like your Exchange server that your employees use. It's still a very critical infrastructure you still haven't virtualized, but over a period, virtualization has matured through your organization. Also, the virtualization platforms have matured over time, and now you feel confident that you can virtualize all of your workloads, including your mission critical workloads, and so you can virtualize them on a fewer pieces of hardware. And as you virtualize mission critical application, your performance and scalability becomes topmost priority for you. And Dell offers, from storage standpoint, the solutions that can optimize performance and scalability and help you meet your goals. For example, automated tiering that Compellent offers, right? So in Compellent, you can pick and choose the drives that you want. You can have a combination of SSD, 15K SAS drives, and 10K SAS drives, and then Compellent will automatically tier the data based on the policies that you set, and it will put the hardest data or the most frequently accessed data onto the highest performing drive. Like SSD drive, thus helping you improve the performance and helping you make sure that you don't have to manually fine-tune your storage every time that you want to tweak performance. It will automatically self-optimize itself. Equalogic has something called hybrid arrays that feature SSD and SAS drives in a single enclosure, and it automatically tiers the data and puts the hardest data on the SSD tier. Equalogic is a scale-out storage, and it also tiers, or it actually load balances across two different kinds of arrays. So if you have a heterogeneous Equalogic arrays from multiple generations, you could do that, and it will basically look at the controller latency. It will look at the I/O access patterns, and it will decide how much of the hard data needs to go on each of the arrays, and it will perpetually keep optimizing it over time. Also, the integrations that all of our platforms have, Equalogic, Compellent, and Powerwall, with vStorage APIs, like vStorage APIs for array integration. So this integration allows VMware to offload tasks like data copy or volume locking or block zeroing to our storage platforms. And by doing that, by offloading these tasks, you can gain tremendous efficiencies. Like you will reduce the traffic that goes between your server and your storage. You can quickly deploy VMs. You can quickly clone VMs from template. It actually improves the scalability of VMFS file system by allowing VMFS file system to do those complex operations without actually impacting the workloads that sit on that VMFS file system. From another piece of integration, VASA, which stands for vStorage APIs for storage awareness. So our platforms integrate with support this integration as well. And through this integration, VMware can know what kind of storage is supporting the virtual deployment. What kind of drives Compellent or Equalogic has, what kind of RAID set is supported, what kind of snapshot reserve is there, all of those things. And based on that, you can set some storage policies or storage profiles for your specific workloads, and you can expect VMware to automatically, behind the scene, based on the policies, rebalance the workloads to get the optimal performance or the desired performance out of the infrastructure. For example, if you have a gold workload that requires, that's the highest priority workload for you, and you set a storage profile for that saying, you know, this workload needs to sit on 15K SAS or higher, because it's really my critical workload. And for some reason, the data store on which this virtual machine is sitting starts experiencing I/O contention, because there are too many virtual machines, active virtual machines, taking out I/Os from that data store. VMware can sense that and move that VM automatically behind the scene based on the policies that you set to a different, similar, or better data store. And this happens without any manual intervention. So as you scale your virtual infrastructure, as you put more and more virtual machines, you really need this automation, because you cannot monitor every single virtual machine all the time, and you need to be able to set the policies and trust VMware and Dell storage to abide by the policies and do the right thing by migrating the workloads to wherever they need to be migrated. Also, all of our platform non-disruptive upgrades and HA features. In case of EqualLogic, you want to upgrade your capacity. It's as simple as hooking up a new array. You don't have to bring down the SAN. You can hook up a new array, add it to the group, and the virtual infrastructure, virtual architecture will automatically spread the volumes over. So it's a non-disruptive upgrade. Same applies to compellent also. All of our storage platforms are support 5.9's availability through redundant components in them. So as far as your critical virtual infrastructure goes, Dell storage platforms do support the kind of availability needs that you have for your critical applications. So here's a customer, Mazda North America. They virtualized on compellent, and they virtualized pretty demanding workloads, like the SAP workload that they use for their enterprise resource management. SAP, a highly critical, highly demanding workload. They virtualized with VMware and compellent as a storage, and what they got, the gains that they received were outstanding. So they could they enhanced their performance of their SAP applications anywhere between 80 to 400%. And this goes back to a couple of things, right? This goes back to the automated tiering compellent has. So behind the scene, the compellent optimizes the data placement. Also, the level of integration compellent has with VMware that helps you extract the best performance from the storage you have. With all of that, virtualizing business critical application has really become the standard service offering at compellent. So they trust their infrastructure so much that they do not hesitate virtualizing their tier 1 application because of the reliability and the performance their virtual infrastructure provides now, that's powered with compellent. And so as you virtualize critical applications, yes, performance is critical, scalability is critical, but data protection is also very critical, right? And you may not want to, not all data, not all virtual machines are of equal importance, so you want to be able to pick and choose what data you protect and how you protect it. So to that effect, Dell storage solutions offer these snapshots. These snapshots can be continuous, as in you can set a schedule saying I want to snap these specific virtual machines or these specific applications within the virtual machine at every 15 minutes or every 1 hour or every day, depending on the criticality of the workload. And you can set policies saying keep the latest 10 snapshots in my snapshot reserve, meaning that when the 11th snapshot comes, the first snapshot will go away. So any given time, you'll have 10 snapshots that you can recover from. And these snapshots that our storage platforms offer, compellent, EqualLogic, as well as PowerVault, are application consistent. For example, if you're taking a snapshot of SQL virtual machine, it will communicate with the SQL server using Microsoft VSS and make sure that the snapshot is clean and consistent, meaning you can recover from the snapshot. Same with VMs. So if you want to take snapshots of the VMs that are running your SQL server, those snapshots would be consistent in the sense that compellent and EqualLogic will talk with VMware to make sure that VMware puts the VM in a snapshot mode, meaning it flushes all the data from memory to disk, so the snapshot captures every single detail of the VM. And the snapshots are SAN-based, meaning the host is not involved in this activity, so it frees up host of those snapshot overheads, and these snapshots are thin, meaning they're incremental, so they don't take up too much capacity, and you can afford to keep multiple snapshots on your storage tier. Further, disaster management is also critical, right? When you virtualize your mission critical applications and combine them together, you consolidate resources, you're really putting all your eggs in one basket. you're consolidating in a single data center on a virtualized servers, and if this data center goes down for some reason, say your data center gets hit by a hurricane, you got to have a contingency plan. Because now all of your eggs are in one basket, and you want to protect that basket. You with Dell storage platforms, you can simply set up the recovery plans. So Dell storage platforms integrate with VMware vCenter Site Recovery Manager. So through this integration, you can set up recovery plans. You can fail over when the disaster really hits your data center, and you can fail back efficiently when the disaster is gone. Or with support for SRM5 now, you don't have to wait for the disaster to hit. You can proactively fail over and fail back. And with what's different with EqualLogic and Compare and basically Dell platforms is we use thin replication underneath this storage replication adapters for vCenter SRM, and with this thin replication, it really optimizes how you replicate and how the SRM works. So you can quickly fail back. You'll only transfer the bits that are changed. So it's only incremental change propagation. With all of that, your bandwidth requirements go down, your capacity requirements go down, and you can really optimize your disaster plan. To add to that, Companion offers something called live volume. With live volume, you can essentially set up two locations to work as primary and secondary, where there's thin replication, semi-synchronous thin replication going on. So at any given time, both of these data center will be synchronized. And in case of a disaster, you can fail over to a secondary data center, or you can use it for load balancing purpose also. And then Dell AppAssure is a leading award-winning data protection platform that Dell recently acquired. And this provides you with the tools that you need for snapshots and backups. And so what's so special about this AppAssure is you can continuously protect your infrastructure. You can take snapshot as frequently as 5 minutes, every 5 minutes. They're extremely flexible in the sense that you can take a snapshot of a virtual machine. Once you have a snapshot or a backup of that virtual machine, you can decide to spin that machine off of on a physical infrastructure or a physical service bare metal server, or you can decide to put it on an ESX virtualized server, or you can decide to put it on a Hyper-V virtual server, or you can decide to deploy that VM in a cloud itself. So you have flexibility to move your workloads from anywhere to anywhere. And once these backups are tested every night, so it's guaranteed that these backups that you've taken, the infrastructure that you invested in, is going to work when you really want it to work. And so rapid AppAssure, you can take snapshot every 5 minutes, so your RPOs can come down tremendously. The snapshots are quick; they transfer, or they track only change blocks, so they don't put a whole lot of overhead on the guests. And at the same time, they provide the kind of reliability you need from your snapshots. They're reliable in the sense that AppAssure ensures all of these snapshots or backups are functional. You define a window when you want AppAssure to check for the consistency of these backups and snapshots, and AppAssure will make sure that these backups and snapshots are going to work for you. And they're flexible in the sense that you're not tied to a specific environment. Once you have a VM snapshot or a backup, you can deploy it on anything. You can deploy it on bare metal. You can deploy it on a different hypervisor. You can deploy it in the cloud. So it's flexible. So you can really take your workload where you want. So a couple of examples here. So Qualls and Brady used EqualLogic for data. It's a law firm based out of Florida. All of their data resides in the data center, and their lawyers really depend on this data to be able to perform their job function. And their data center, being in Florida, is vulnerable to all the hurricanes. And so they used EqualLogic and use EqualLogic for the disaster management through SRM. So now they basically reduced, they eliminated any downtime during Hurricane Faye in Florida. They were able to fail over to disaster recovery side in 45 minutes. They improved the recovery point objectives, the RPOs, by 93%. So all of these using EqualLogic's built-in software. So remember one thing: EqualLogic offers all of these softwares included at a base price, so they didn't have to pay anything extra for that. At the same time, they were able to meet their objectives from disaster management standpoint. BioWare, another gaming company, used compellant in compellant to support their infrastructure. And what they really liked was a remote instant replace, which is essentially a thin clones, and that they minimize the space requirement, the capacity requirement to be able to implement these data protection disaster recovery strategies. And then from App Assure standpoint, this customer used App Assure, and backup window is completely eliminated with continuous disk imaging. So you're talking about every 5 minutes. They don't have a backup window. It goes on behind the scene, and it doesn't put any extra overheads on the server resources. Further, you virtualized your non-mission critical applications. You virtualize your critical applications. With the advent in virtualization technologies, now you can actually start virtualizing desktops also. And as you do that, Dell offers solutions that help you optimize your desktop virtualization. From desktop virtualization standpoint, there are a couple of challenges, unique challenges for desktop virtualization. One of those is IO storms or boot storms. 8 o'clock in the morning, when most of your workforce logs in, it generates massive amounts of IOs for your storage. And if the storage is not able to handle these IOs, your end users, the endpoint devices, experience delays. So if you heard about, my desktop takes 30 minutes to boot every morning, that's because the storage is not able to handle the IOs. So to handle that, Dell offers automated tiering. Right? So for EqualLogic hybrid arrays have SSD and SAS drives in a single enclosure. It will put the hardest data on the SSD tier, and SSD tier can handle much more IOPS. So 8 o'clock in the morning, when you have, say, 1,000 people logging in or booting up, the hardest data is going to be moved to SSD, and SSDs are able to handle much more IOs. Just to give you an example, a SAS drive, 15K SAS drive can handle 170 IOs per second, whereas an SSD can handle about 5,000 IOs per second. So by moving the right data, the most frequently accessed data, to the SSD, EqualLogic can mitigate these IO storms very effectively. On the compellant side, it's even more flexible. You can choose how many SSD drives you want, how many 10K or 15K SAS drives you want, and based on that, it will make sure that the hardest data is served from the SSD drives, and thus mitigating your IO storms. Further, what you're trying to do with a desktop is all of your data that used to be on your hard drives is moving to the enterprise data center. Right, so the storage infrastructure in your data center is really expensive, much more expensive than the hard drives you used to have in your laptops or desktops. And so the storage cost becomes an issue and can really kill the ROI of your VDI project. So Dell offers, Dell Compellant, for example, offers thin operations, thin provisioning, thin clones, thin writes. All of these things help you reduce your storage needs. Same thing with EqualLogic. EqualLogic offers something called thin clones of a template volume. If you go with that model, you can reduce your storage requirements by about 90% essentially by eliminating storage of duplicate data. There's a lot of duplicate data across those virtual machines, right? If you have 1,000 Microsoft Windows virtual machines, there's a lot of common components across those 1,000 virtual machines. And so using these thin clones or VMware Sling clones, you can really reduce this, the amount of capacity needed to host those 1,000 desktops. Further, EqualLogic offers tools like virtual desktop deployment utility that can help you provision thousands of desktops from a single image. That can help you create space-efficient thin clones of a template volume. And then EqualLogic, Compare, and Powerwall, all of them are unified storage, meaning that they offer a gateway that can give you a NAS access to the same underlying shared storage pool. So you can now separate user data from the VM data, because these two data sets have different needs. VM data really needs to perform, while user data is the key asset of your organization, and you want to be able to protect that. So you can separate this using a NAS SAN unified solution while not making it complicated, while actually simplifying how you manage your VM and user data. So an example here, XTM used EqualLogic, and XTM is a service provider that offers desktop as a service to its customers. They use EqualLogic, use thin clones, and they love it. 76% less time to boot multiple virtual desktops, and that goes back to integrations like VAAI integration that goes back to automated tiering and all of those. 90% saving of disk space using thin clones. These are EqualLogic thin clones, and they saved about 90% on a disk space. So that's how you make an ROI sense out of this VDI. If you're not creative, if you don't use these features, when you run the numbers, your VDI solution is not going to meet your ROI or TCO objectives unless you use these advanced capacity optimization techniques that Dell Storage offers. And then, as your data center approaches almost 100% virtualization, you can start thinking about building, how do I build a flexible, scalable, agile cloud infrastructure? So cloud infrastructure is ultimate in agility. It basically, it breaks down the silos between all the infrastructure resources and helps you build flexible pools of resources that you can deploy as and when needed. And it really helps your IT become a value center, not so much of a cost center. It helps empower your business units to do the most that they want. They're able to IT and then be able to charge back to business units. So all of this empowers the business units, simplifies the IT, and builds an agile infrastructure. From Dell, Dell is in a unique position here, because when you think about cloud, it's not about storage, it's not about network, it's not about servers, it's all of those put together. And Dell, being a solution vendor that offers server, storage, switching, as well as services and software, can really integrate and coordinate across the stack to be able to manage this infrastructure in an agile manner. Dell storage solutions, you can customize them. They have scripting languages that they support, so you can customize them, set policies to meet your unique cloud needs. All Dell storage solutions are extremely flexible and modular. They're like independent building blocks. So that helps you build a very flexible infrastructure. And then all Dell storage solutions are integrated with vCloud, compatible with vCloud. Dell offers a public vCloud service. Dell offers services to build your own private vCloud. And because Dell's cloud solutions are built on standards, they're portable, meaning there is compatibility between Dell vCloud and a third-party vCloud and the vCloud that you build in-house, which is a private vCloud. So with all of that, you can really build a cloud infrastructure that meets your flexibility goals. Give you an example. Island is a cloud-based service provider, and they provide services like SAP applications on demand or desktops on demand, and they used EqualLogic to power their cloud. And the results are elimination of planned downtime with non-disruptive maintenance. I spoke earlier about how you can scale EqualLogic non-disruptively. You're running out of a capacity. All you have to do is hook up another array. You don't bring down the SAN. So the scaling is really flexible, and it's live, meaning you don't have to bring down the SAN. And then the infrastructure that you build with this kind of storage is extremely flexible, adaptable, and scalable. And then as a result of scale-out architecture in EqualLogic, which basically means that each array, it's not just a disk tray. Each array has its own controller resources. So as you add more capacity, as you run out of capacity, you add more capacity, you're actually adding more controller resources. So you're adding more bandwidth, you're adding more processing power, you're adding more cache. So it's actually scaling of capacity and performance in a linear fashion. With that, I'd like to emphasize some of the quotes from VMware that talk about the relationship Dell has with VMware on the technology slide. So we have Dell storage engineers sitting side by side with VMware engineers coming up with innovations like VASA. But we also have business relationship. Dell is one of the biggest consumer of VMware solutions. Dell is also one of the biggest reseller of VMware software. Dell was one of the first vendors, actually the first vendor, to preload VMware ESX on Dell PowerEdge. So we have a long-standing history of technical collaboration as well as business collaboration. So together we can deliver the value that customers are looking for. And then to make it simple, Dell offers something called business-ready configurations. Dell vStart and Dell Desktop Virtualization Solutions. What these are is actually, it's a completely integrated solution stack. All the hardware, storage, network, server, along with the software from management standpoint, as well as VMware software like vSphere or VMware View, all put together, optimized, configured, ready to go. So when you order one of these, you really accelerate your time to value. So you can slash your deployment time from months to days with this, and And this comes in a flexible configuration, so you can decide to buy, I want a vStart for 50 VMs because today I need no more than 50 VMs. So you can say I want 100 VMs or 200 VMs or 1,000 VMs, and you're not stuck with it. You bought a vStart 100 today. Your needs grow tomorrow. You can scale it within the rack, outside of the rack. You can put two vStarts side by side and cluster them together to double the capacity. So it's an extremely flexible, pre-configured way of building your virtual infrastructure. And these three product lines, they help you maximize your efficiency, they help you maximize your resiliency, and they offer great business agility, compelling EqualLogic and PowerVault. And to stitch it all together with the hardware, storage, software, storage, networking, as well as servers and software, Dell offers services that stitches all of these offerings together. And Dell's service model is extremely flexible, as in we can consult you on what should be done, and you do it yourself, all the way to we'll do it for you, we'll manage it for you, or you can use our infrastructure as a service, and everything in between, depending on what model makes sense for your enterprise. We have a service model that can fit your specific needs. And with that, I would say Dell and VMware have long-standing history of collaboration. Dell is in a unique position through its collaboration with VMware, as well as its breadth of offerings, all the way from software, server, switching, storage, and services. We can help you optimize your VMware journey no matter where you are on the journey or how far you want to go. And that concludes my presentation for today. Thank you.